We're back with a new video እንዴት ዋላችሁ የማይ እንግሊሽ ቻናል ቤተሰቦች ዛሬ በአሪፍ ሌሰን የስፖከን ሌሰን which is really good for beginner intermediate and advanced so እንዴት ምክር ይሰጣል ወይም ደግሞ ሰዎችን ስንመክራቸው ወይ ደግሞ ምክር ከኛ ፈልገው ከኛ ጠይቀው በእንግሊዘኛ መምከር ብንፈልግ ምን እንላቸዋለን የሚለውን ሌሰን ይዘንላችሁ መተናል it's really good እስከ መጨረሻው ድረስ እዩት ስለዚህ ጨርሳችሁት because በጣም የምታገኙአቸው ኤክስፕሬሽኖች አሉ ማለት ነው okay so we'll start from that one this is our English channel And what we have is like giving advices, all right? Mikr, መስጠት እንዴት
አሎ
Abela is here too so ከሱ ጋር ያወራን እንግዲህ ምክር እየተሰጣጠን እንሄዳለን ማለት so there are different expressions that we can use ምክር ለመስጠት ስንፈልግ ለምሳሌ Abela if I say ትንሽ ራሴን አሞኛልና ምን እንደማደርግ አላቀም ምናምን አልኩ so what kind of advice would you give me ምን ብለህ ትጀምረዋለህ እስቲ I am having a bad headache I'm having a headache so what do you advise me or what should I do
you should go to the hospital
you should go to hospital
headache no
it's a headache yeah so what do you think
get some rest
okay you should get some rest okay you should get some rest that's nice all right አለች ምንማረው ኤክስፕሬሽን ውስጥ you should ምትላለች or you better okay ሌላስ
like
all right so go to hospital or like you said take some painkillers
yeah
very good so እንደዛ ማለት ይቻላል so giving advice ላይ የተለያዩ ምንጠቀማቸው በተለያየ አይነት you know like words and expressions that we have all right so the first one ዛሬ ላሳያችሁ የፈለኩት is if I were you አይደለም ብሎ advice like ለህመም ምናምን ብቻ አይደለም if I were you or you can say if I were in your place in your shoes አይደለም ሲሉ ሰምታላል in your position እኔ ባንተ ቦታ ብሆን አይደለም እኔ ባንተ ጫማ ውስጥ ብሆን ይላሉ actually አይደል ይባላል አማርኛ ላይ
ባንተ ጫማ
እንዲያደርግ ነበር ነው so ስለዚህ I would ብላችሁ ነው የምትመልሱት ከነዚህኞቹ በኋላ if I were you if I were in your position if I were in your shoes or if I were in your place አይደል I would እንዲ አደርግ ነበር ብለው ምክርን መስጠት ይቻላል አይደል all right like you know somebody has got like some kind of you know problem or whatever it is ለምሳሌ እንዲ በለኝስ እኔ አንተም በሆን ኖሮ ከባንክ በደር ነበር በለኝ እስቲ እዛ somebody want to start a business መጀመር ፈለገና financially ጥሩ አይደለም okay አንሶታል የሆነ ነገር ስለዚህ እኔ አንተም በሆን ከባንክ በደር ነበር if I were you if I were in your place your shoes your position ካራቱ አንዱ አይደል ይችላሉ እሺ if I were you
I would give or I would I would get some loan from
okay I would get some loan ይቻላል I would get some loan from the bank አይደል or from a bank okay from a bank በኋላ ላይ አርቲክል ስለምናወራ ዘና ኤን እና ያለ from a bank አይደል ከባንክ በደር ነበር ወይም ደግሞ ምን ማለት ይችላል I would borrow አይደል
yes
I would borrow some money from the bank okay so I would get some loan from a bank or I would borrow some money from a bank ሊሆን ይችላል okay that's very good okay I would ask you know my family አይደል I would ask my friends to give me a loan ጓደኞቼ እንዲያበድሩኝ ምናምን ይቻላል if I were you እኔ አንተን በሆን ትምህርት ቤት ከፍት ነበር በለኝ እስቲ
I will open school
I would አይደል wouldn't ተጠቀም because like imagine ያልክ secondary condition ስለሆነ if I were you I would እስቲ በሉት እናንተም እኔ አንተን በሆን ትምህርት ቤት ከፍት ነበር if I were you I would open a school አይደል እኔ አንተን በሆን ቢዝነስ ጀምር ነበር በሉኝ እስቲ if I were you I would start a business አይደል if I were you I would start a business እኔ አንተን በሆን ከዚህ ሀገር ጠፋ ነበር
if I were you I would
leave this country leave this country like you know I would go abroad አይደል? abroad or I would go to another country አይደለም? would go to another country, would go abroad or something. Okay. Right. So you can just use different kind of words. እዚህ ጋር የሚመጡት ነገሮች ምንድናቸው? እኔ አንተም ብሆን እኔ አንተም ብሆን በጊዜ ተኛ ነበር፣ እኔ አንተም ብሆን አጠና ነበር፣ እኔ አንተም ብሆን እንዲበላ ነበር፣ እንደዚህ ያደርግ ነበር እያሉ መጥራት ይችላሉ አይደል? if I were you, okay? if I were in your shoes, ለምሳሌ እኔ አንተም ብሆን ትዳሬን አልፈታም ነበር በለኝስ።
if I were you,
I wouldn't ትሆናለች ማለት ነው። ኔጌቲቭ I wouldn't divorce my marriage አይደል? or my wife or something. Okay, I wouldn't divorce. እኔ አንተም ብሆን ኖር አላገባም ቢሆንስ?
if I were you,
I wouldn't marry አይደል? if I were you, I wouldn't marry ማለት ትችላላችሁ ነው። Okay, if I were you, I wouldn't break up with her አይደል? or if I were you, I would check something, like check አደርጋለሁ፣ አልጣላም ነበር፣ አልለያይም ነበር፣ or አልፋታም ነበር፣ አላገባም ነበር። if I were you እያሉ ይመጣሉ ነው። Okay, so ሁለተኛው ሌላኛው ይሄኛው የመጀመሪያው ነው። the other phrase that we have, like giving advice ላይ መጠቀም የምንችለው why don't you? እስቲ በለኝ why don't you?
why don't you?
Yeah, right. why don't you? ለምን እንደዚህ አታረግም አይደል? why don't you? All right. You know, like this days I'm having a flu, I have a bad cold, I have a headache, runny nose አይደል? so በቃ like ይመጣል በዚህ runny nose is like ሲወርድ ነው, and I have a bad headache, I'm coughing, I'm sneezing, and you know like I have fever, and you know like my body gets weaker and something like this one. All right, I think it's a flu or maybe COVID or whatever it is. All right, what should I do? ምን ላድርግ? ለምን እንደዚህ አታረግም ስትለኝ why don't you? እስቲ በለኝ
why don't you? ጉንፋን ነው አይደል?
yes.
why don't you
take ምናምን or drink?
why don't
yeah.
you drink
tea, all right, ginger tea. why don't you drink ginger tea? አሁን ሳወራው ግን ሌላ ነገር ነው ይመስለው አይደል? ከባድ በሽታ ያለብኝ ነው ይመስላል። ይወርዳል ሰውነቴ ምናምን እንደዚህ ምናምን ይቆረጣጥመኛል መምስተል ያ but like you know there are like bad flu አይደለም? ከበድ ያሉ ፍሎች አሉ። okay, why don't you take hot drinks አይደል? why don't you take hot drinks? all right, do you know those home remedy የሚባሉ home remedies medicine ከሚለው ነው። okay, home remedies ላይ ቤት ውስጥ የሚሰሩ አሉ። ለምሳሌ ነጭ ሽንኩርት ምናምን አይታላል። ነጭ ሽንኩርት ዝንጅብል ምናምን አድርገው ፌጦ ምናምን አድርገው ኦኬ ጨቅ አድርገው why don't you try or why don't you try home remedies አይደል? why don't you take አይደል? why don't you you know like get treatment or why don't you go to hospital? ለምን ሆስፒታል አትሄድም? ለምን እረፍት አታረግም ስትለኝ ምንድን ነው ያልከኝ?
why don't you get some rest?
why don't you get some rest አይደል? እኔ አንተም ብሆን እረፍት አረግ ነበር ቢሆን ደግሞ ምን ይሆናል? if I were you, I would get some rest. I would take some rest. I would take some rest. Why don't you get some rest? Why don't you take some rest? ማለት ትችላላችሁ። so giving advice ነው as I told you በጣም ብዙ ናቸው፣ ወደ 8 ናቸው። ሁሉንም ለመከታተል ሞክሩ። so ሁሉም ላይ የየራሳቸውን ኤግዛምፕል እየሰጠን እንሰራለን። so why don't you አንደኛው ፍሬዝ ነው ማለት ነው እዚህ ጋር ያልኳችሁ። ከዛ if I were you እኔ አንተም ብሆን የሚል ነው። ስለዚህ why don't you try home remedies? why don't you take some rest? አይደል? take some rest. why don't you go to a hospital? አይደል? a hospital. good. all right, why don't you call? ለምን አትደውልላትም በለኝ እስቲ።
why don't you call her?
why don't you call her? አይደል? why don't you call her? or ለምን አታወራትም?
why don't you talk to her?
why don't you talk to her? right? okay, you can say that like ለምን አትቀይርም or something. why don't you change your business? or why don't you change the field? why don't you change something which is like why don't you change your clothes? ለምን ልብስን አትቀይርም ምናምን ሊሆን ይችላል። so you can just have that why don't you do this and do that? ምክር ነው፣ giving advice እየሰጣችሁ ነው። okay, so በኋላ ላይ የምናያት አለች። በነገራችን ላይ ይሄ advice እዚህ ጋር ደግሞ ምን ታደርጉታላችሁ? advise ሆኖ ይመጣል። this is the verb, okay, this is a noun የሚል ነገር በኋላ ላይ እናያለን። ይሄ ምክር ነው፣ ይሄኛው ደግሞ መምከር ነው፣ ድርጊቱ ነው። okay, ስለዚህ this is ለምሳሌ I advise you ነው የምንለው። okay, I advise you ስለዚህ መመክርህ እንደማለት ነው አይደል? ወይ ደግሞ let me give you advice ካልኩኝ ደግሞ ምክር ልስጥህ ነው አይደል? so ልክ የሆነ ነገር ነው። ስለዚህ ይሄ ማርከር ልስጥ እንደምልህ ስም ነው፣ አብስትራክት ቢሆንም advice ነው ማለት ነው። ኦኬ እኒ 2 3ኛ 4ኛውን እንጨምራለን ማለት ነው። ኦኬ let's continue. okay, So the third one, we said why don't you ብለን ነበረ, and if I were you ብለናል. I think you should. እስቲ በለኝ አቤላ።
I think you should.
ምን ማለት ነው? እንዲህ ማድረግ ያለብህ ይመስለኛል አይደል? I think you should ከዛ verb እናመጣበታለን። I think you should go to hospital አይደል? So like በስመ አብ እኔ አልቻልኩም ቆርጤ ምናምን ይላል ሰው። I think you should go to hospital አይደል? I think you should take the exam again, or I think you should talk to her, or you know say sorry ምናምን አይደል? So እየመከርክ ነው አንተ እየመከርክ ነው። ስለዚህ ይቅርታ ማለት ያለብህ ይመስለኛል። በለኝ እስቲ።
I think you should say sorry.
I think you should say sorry to her or to him አይደል? Or you can say that. Okay. ፈተና like ዝቅተኛ ውጤት ምናምን አምጥቶ መጣ። So like መቆጣት ምናምን አልፈለክም። ስለዚህ I think አይደል በደንብ ማጥናት ያለብህ ይመስለኛል። I think you should study hard አይደል? I think you should study hard. I think you should you know like do this, do that. All right. What do you think I should do to you know like I'm having a problem. Situation will lift arla. I'm having a problem with my neighbor አልኩ። ለምሳሌ like ሙዚቃ እኔ መተኛት ስፈልግ ሙዚቃ ከፍቶ like ወይ ደግሞ በጣም ጫጫታ ጓደኞች ምናምን ያበዛልና እኔ ብዙ ጊዜ መተኛት አልኩ። ጎረቤቴ ነው። Okay, he's my neighbor. እና like you know like ለማውራት ትንሽ ከበደኝ. We're just close ምናምንና what do you think I should do? እስቲ እናንተም ኮሜንት ላይ የጻፋችሁ what do you think I should do about my neighbor? Okay, so ሁሉ ጊዜ በጣም ላውድ ሚውዚክ አለ። እንደገና ደግሞ ሲያወሩ ነው የሚያድሩት like በጣም ይጨፍራሉ ምናምን ጓደኞች አሉት ብዙና እኔ ቀን ሰርቼ ደክሞኝ ማታ መተኛ ስፈልግ አልችልም። so ምን ላድርግ? what do you think I should do? Fight or I think you should
I think you should ask them.
Okay, he's just one but he has got friends. And you know I think you should ask him or
I think you should ask him
right.
to lower down their voice.
The volume or the voice or something. Very good. So Abela said okay, so the noise generally, so to lower or the noise አይደል? እሺ ስለዚህ Abel said I think you should ask him or talk to him አይደል? To lower the voice or the noise. በጣም ጥሩ። ስለዚህ ድምጽ እንዲቀንሱ ነገራቸው or something, or you know I think you should tell them
I think you should tell them
that he couldn't sleep or something. Do you think I should yes, you've been disturbed, right? ለፖሊስ ሪፖርት ማድረግ አለብኝ?
No, man.
ለኮንዶሚኒየም ላይ ምናምን የሚኖሩ ሰዎች ለእንትን ምንድነው የሚባሉት ኮሚቴ ምናምን አሉ አይደል? ግቢ ውስጥ ለኮሚቴ ምናምን እንትን ይላሉ. But mine is not a condominium, but it is you know like a kind of a small apartment. Okay,
yeah.
So what do you think? Go to the police 911.
No, you don't have to do that.
Okay, all right. I think you should.
Your neighbor.
Okay, he's my neighbor, so
Yeah, you don't have to do that.
So maybe some other day you may disturb him. ስለዚህ you know መቻቻል ነው, right? Tolerate. Okay, but I think you should talk to him honestly, like frankly አይደል? Openly. በጣም ጥሩ በግልጽ አውራው. You've been disturbed አይደል? You've been disturbed እንደተረበሽክ. Okay, I think you should. So ይሄንን ካያችሁ I think you should talk to him or ask him or something, right? So ማለት እንችላለን. The other one you should የሚለው አለ እዚህ ጋር and ከዛ እዚሁ ጋር you better. Okay, እንዲህ ማድረግ አለብህ. Okay, you better, you had better እንደማለት ነው. you had better or you should የሚሏቸው መምጣት ይችላሉ ማለት ነው. Okay, so you should and you better, you should go. Okay, you better go አይደለም የምትለኝ? all right, so በጣም አሞኛል ምናምን አልኩ ደወልኩልህና ወይ ደግሞ ጓደኞቼ ጋር ደውዬ so ምን ሊሉኝ ይችላሉ ማለት ነው? You should go to hospital አይደል? You better go to the hospital. እስቲ በለኝ you'd better go to hospital.
You better go to hospital.
all right, so መሄድ አለብህ ነው አይደል? You better go to the hospital. You should go. I think you should go. እንደዚህ ማድረግ ያለብህ ይመስለኛል። ይሄኛው ደግሞ ይሄኛው ማድረግ አለብህ ነው አይደል? So you should go, you better go and all these things. Okay, you better go and see a doctor, right?
Yeah.
So መታየት አለብህ or something like that, right? So you can have. And when some people say this one, instead እንዲህ ከምታረግ ይልቅ ይሉሃል አይደል? instead of try to አይደል? ቅድም ያልከኝ ለምሳሌ ለፖሊስ ልናገርለት ይሄን ጎረቤቴን should I just report to the police ምናምን አልኩ. you know instead of በለኝ እስቲ እናንተም እየሞከራችሁ. yes, instead of reporting to the police or instead of going to the police See, instead of reporting to the police or instead of going to the police, try to
Talk
to him አይደል? Try to convince him አይደለም? ለማሳመን ሞክር. Try to ask him politely አይደለም? Try to sit down and talk to him አይደለም? ቁጭ ብላችሁ አውሩ or something, all right? አንዳንድ ሰዎች አሉ aggressive ይሆናሉ። ባል ሚስት ምናምን girlfriend ምናምን በጣም ተናደ ተበሳይተ ምናምን ከምታወራት እስቲ ረጋ በልና ደግሞ አውራት ሞክራት ይባላል አይደል? So like እሱ ምናምን ሲል እሷ ምን ልትሆን ትችላለች? Hyper and hyper, right? That's fire, አይደለም? So like the two of them. ስለዚህ when one goes up, the other must come down, አይደል? So ስለዚህ ምን ያድርግ ማለት instead of
barking.
Oh, barking, okay. Instead of being aggressive, አይደል? Barking is for instead of being aggressive, አይደል? በጣም ከመናደድ አይደል? Or instead of yelling, screaming, yelling is መጮህ አይደል? Instead of yelling and talking to her, okay? Instead of yelling, try to talk to her or try to calm down. Try to talk to her, in a calm manner, አይደል? So ስለዚህ ረጋ ባለ manner ለማውራት ሞክር. Instead of yelling, all right? Try to talk slowly. Okay? Try to bring it down or something. Okay. And instead of this and instead of that, all right? Like I am in a kind of dilemma ምናምን ይሏል ሰዎች ኦኬ ይሄደላችሁ ቤት ልግዛ መኪና ልግዛ እያልኩ ነው ምናምን ሰው ስለዚህ የትኛው ይቅደም የትኛው ይሻለኛል አለ ስለዚህ መጀመሪያ መኪና ከመግዛት ይልቅ ቤቱን ለመግዛት ሞክር በለው እስቲ
instead of buying
the car first try to
buy
the house, right? Or like have some money, like kind of extra money and buy the house, right? Try to buy the house, okay? And instead of doing this one, whenever I have a headache, I want you to advise me on this one. እናንተም እንደዚህ ሁሉ ጊዜ ራሴን ሲያመኝ like my body stuck ያደርጋል in a sense መስራት አልችልም ምናምን በጣም it's not migraine but ከዛ ምንድነው ማድረገው ቶሎ ብዬ ሮጬ በቃ Panadol or a paracetamol or some kind of like Advil ምናምን ነው የምወስደው ማለት ነው ኦኬ ምን ትመክሩኛላችሁ ስለዚህ እንደዚህ አይነት ፔንኪለሮችን ከመውሰድ ይልቅ ለምን እንደዚህ አትሞክርም በሉኝ እስቲ this is very important for me by the way serious ነው okay go ከአቤልን ጀምሮስ ይሞክሩ እነሱ ኮሜንት ላይ ጻፉት እሺ ቀጥል
እሺ
instead of
taking
painkillers
try to take some rest
try to take some rest try to sleep okay try to sleep in okay okay I tried to sleep and when I wake up I still have the headache what do you think
so
go to hospital
no
all right
you have to do that
yes
instead of taking painkillers try to have some traditional medicine
like what the home remedies or something okay the damakasi ምች መጥቶ ሊሆን ይችላል ያልከ እሺ instead of taking the painkillers he said this Advil Panadol like the aspirin whatever try to take or rest or try to sleep or try to take some home remedies ብሎኛል ስለዚህ እነዚህን ሞክራቸዋል but by the way like headache is a symptom አይደለም ለሌላም አዎ ስለዚህ ወስደህም አንዳንድ ጊዜ ላይ ይሻል ይችላል ስለዚህ there is some kind of problem in your body ማለት ነው አይደል like የሆነ ቦታ ላይ ስትታመም የሚሰጥ ሲግናል ነው እዚህ ጋር ማለት ነው alright ስለዚህ ያ ሲግናል that symptom ምልክት ስለሆነ ስለዚህ try to go and check አይደል በጣም እየባሰከ ነው 2-3 ቀን ከሆነ ደግሞ but like most of the time I told you my addiction አይደል I'm addicted to coffee አይደል እንዴ ስል ደግሞ ሌላ ነገር እንዳይመስላችሁ ቆርጣችሁ እንዳሰሩበት I am addicted to coffee right so ስለዚህ ምን ይላል okay instead of taking a Panadol or these painkillers try to take or try to drink your coffee አይደል coffee or something like your daily dose all right so you can say that instead of very good so we can have this one also instead of እንዲከምታረግ እንዲያደርግ ነው let's add one more right and the other one is like my advice for you is ቅድም ያልኳችሁ እዚች ጋር ነው የምትመጣው የኔ ምክር ምናም ስትሉ እቺኛውን የምትጠቀሙት የትኛው ማለት ነው ናውን አይደል የኔ ምክር ስሟን ማለት ነው my advice for you is to የሆነ ነገር አይደል my advice for you is to go to this place or do this do that አይደል ለምሳሌ I won a lottery okay and I don't know what to do, or I don't know what to start. Like, I don't know what kind of business I should start. Okay? Would you advise me? It's 10 million Ethiopian birr. I won a lottery. Would you advise me? My advice for you is...
My advice for you is to start business immediately.
Okay, to start business. My question is, what kind of business?
Okay, what kind of business?
I think you should start, or you should, or you better.
I think you should start depending on your interest.
Okay, all right. It depends on your interest. What kind of business would you like to have?
For myself?
Yeah. What kind of business would you like to have? ምን አይነት business for that?
Like online business.
Online business, all right. So online 10 ሚሊዮን ይፈጃል? አይፈጅማል? ምናልባት የምታመጣቸው ማቴሪያልስ the good ones አይደል? ከዛ በኋላ like እነሱ መሸጥ ከሆነ ኦንላይን ላይ okay ሊሆን ይችላል. So my advice for you is to start an online business?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. All right, I would start that one. Maybe it's just like, trading, ንግድ ነው ምናምን. All right. So I would have my office and I post my products and whatever it is online so they can come and buy me. All right, very good. So my advice for you. Okay, I advise you. እቺኛዋን ደግሞ እዚቹ ጋር ምን መቀየር ይችላሉ? I advise you አይደል? እቺ ምንድነው የምትለው? እስቲ አነባበባል። advice እቺኛዋ ስ ድምጽ ናት። advice እዚህ ጋር ደግሞ advise ዝ. Okay? So እናንተ ጋር advise and advice. Okay? My advice for you is to start a business. I advise you to start a business. Right?
Yeah.
So ስለዚህ I advise you to start a business. ቢዝነስ እንድትጀምር እመክርሃለሁ። የኔ ምክር ቢዝነስ እንድትጀምር ነው። አይደል የሚለው የመጀመሪያው my advice for you is to start a business. I advise you to start a business ማለት ነው. Okay. All right. Let's continue. አንድ ሁለት እንጨምርበት እስቲ. We're back. We're left with two or, a few more. So the next one is, have you tried የሚልና ኦኬ እንዲስ ሞክረሃል ምናምን ስትሉና alright እንደዚህ ሳድርገሃል ወይ ደግሞ እንደዚህ have you thought about okay እንዲስ ለማድረግ have you thought about and have you tried? Okay, for example I said it takes a while for like for some kind of things like I just wanted to lose my weight. Okay, I try to control my diet, my food and everything. Okay, ምግብ ምናምን ለመቆጣጠር ምናምን okay ትንሽ ለውጥ አለው ግን ምናምን እሺ እንትንስ ሞክራል በስቲ
Have you tried physical exercise?
Going to the gym? እስቲ በለው have you tried? ምክር ነው ይሄም ራሱ አይደል? ስለዚህ ጂምስ ሞክራል ስፖርት ለመስራት ሞክራል በለኝ እስቲ
Have you tried
to do physical exercise or
have you tried to do physical exercise
or to go to the gym? I don't know. Have you tried? Okay, that is the one that I haven't tried, but I will. Okay, but like okay, have you thought about starting gym? I don't know. Have you tried? Have you thought about about joining the gym? I don't know. Joining the gym. Have you thought about okay, starting physical exercises? You can say that. Have you tried or have you thought about and have you tried so the things that we have said, have you tried to join the gym? All right. The gym. So I said this one. Have you tried to start physical exercise? All right. So እንደዚህ ያሉ መቀጠል ይችላሉ. So this is giving advice. So one person can just make a kind of advice. Like request ሲያደርጉ ምን ማለት ይችላሉ ማለት ነው? What should I do? አይደለም? What do you advise me? Or what do you think I should do? አይደል? ምን ማድረግ ይሻላል? Or what do you advise me? ምን ትመክረኛለህ አይደል? Or what do you think I have to do? ምን ማድረግ አለብኝ ብለው ሊጠይቋቸው ይችላሉ. So have you tried? Have you thought about instead of this, try this. If I were you, if I were in your shoes, in your place እያሉ መቀጠል ይችላሉ ማለት ነው. So this is my English YouTube ቻናላችን ነው. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share ማድረጋችሁ እንዳትረሱ. ኮሜንቶቻችሁን አሁንም በጣም እንፈልጋችኋለን. We or like our location ቦታችን ገነት ኮሜርሻል ከዘፍመሽ አጠገብ መገናኛ ላይ ሴንተሩ ላይ ነው ያለነው ስለዚህ እዛም መታችሁ ፌስ ቱ ፌስ መማር የምትፈልጉ የቪአይፒ ክላሶችን አዘጋጅተን እየጠበቅናችሁ ነው and at the same time ኦንላይን መማር የምትፈልጉ ደግሞ እዛው ጋር በተጻፉት ሁለት ስልኮች እየደወላችሁ አውሩን ጠዋት ከሰዓት ማታ ለሊትም ሊሆን ይችላል ስለዚህ ሁሉ ጊዜ ያለን እንቅልፋተኛ ሞያ አትበሉኝ አይዟችሁ ጊዜ ያለኝ እንቅልፍ but we can just have different kind of classes ፕሮግራሞቻችን ያመቻቸን በሱ መማር ትችላላችሁ ኦንላይን የትም ሀገር ሆናችሁ የትም ቦታ ሆናችሁ ስራችሁ ላይ ቤታችሁ ሆናችሁ መማር የምትችሉባቸው ሌሰኖች አዘጋጅተናል so thank you very much one love bye